After 2 years of experience having a normal life, and 1 year of experience having a mutual relationship with Karizoake, it seems like the feeling called love is still hesitant to visit the heart of Ayanokoji. Even after he tried to spark the feeling by causing fights and controversy, the conclusion was far from what he desired. At the end, he still doesn't love Kei enough to prevent him from moving to another class. Maybe it's impossible for Ayanokoji to feel human emotion, either because there is something wrong with him, or maybe he just chose the wrong person. We know that Ayanokoji is not a regular human by any means, so it wouldn't be strange if the problem lies with him. However, love has always worked both ways. If it doesn't work with Kei, there is a chance he could feel it for someone else, either it's Horikita, Ichinose, or maybe Hiyori. In fact, the second volume of the third-year arc gave us major hope that Ayanokoji finally found his first love. So, let's take a look at it one by one. First, let's try to figure out why Ayanokoji cannot fall in love. In general, humans could fall in love as soon as they learn how to communicate. Some people have it late, but most people have already experienced falling in love before they enter high school. Of course, Ayanokoji's case is really special. White Room never taught him how to communicate properly, and before he reached the proper age, there was no one left that he could fall in love with. We didn't know what happened when he was under the care of Matsuo, but let's just assume Horikita is the first girl Ayanokoji had a chance to fall in love with. While Horikita back then was clearly attractive, her personality is not something that could easily make people fall in love, which eventually led us to the second option, Kushida Kikyo. Unfortunately, Kushida's real personality that Ayanokoji accidentally found out was even worse than Horikita's. Ayanokoji was not exactly popular in his class, so his interaction with the opposite sex was really limited to Horikita and Kushida. The real chance to fall in love just came when he was introduced to Sakura and Ichinose, especially with Ichinose. No matter how you look at it, it's really easy to fall in love with Ichinose. She is beautiful, smart, and wouldn't look at you as if you are a waste of oxygen. Even if they only had a little moment together in Volume 2, Ichinose was the first person who made Ayanokoji think about relationships when she asked him to become a fake boyfriend for her. Most men and also some women will immediately fall in love with her, but of course, Ayanokoji is not some regular man. Ayanokoji didn't fall in love with them because there is not enough reason that would allow him to fall in love. The earliest sign of falling in love usually begins with the increase in heartbeat, but unfortunately, Ayanokoji had been training to suppress his heartbeat ever since he was little. He could fight against multiple opponents without any increase in his heartbeat, so some light reaction from the opposite sex wouldn't be able to move his heart. However, even when he was introduced to Sato, Ayanokoji still didn't show any change of heart. And like Sakura, Sato chose to show her feelings with a direct approach. She wasn't hesitant or shy to show Ayanokoji how interested she was in him, and she didn't even hesitate to invite him on a date or to do some skinship. Her reason for falling in love was also so simple, because Ayanokoji looked so cool when he was running fast. However, even the direct approach failed to make Ayanokoji grow a romantic feeling. Once again, Ayanokoji has absolutely no reason to fall in love with Sato. If we take a look at every person who was shown to fall in love in this series, there is one thing that is common in their case, which is the impression that was planted in their heart. Sudo fell in love because he was shocked seeing Horikita apologize to him. Sakura fell in love because Ayanokoji saved her from her stalker. And even Ika and Shinohara fell in love with each other because they fight and argue all the time. They leave a deep impression on others, and maybe that is the reason why Ayanokoji has not yet fallen in love, because no one has ever left a truly deep impression on him. With every knowledge and harsh training that he gained in the White Room, it will be hard to leave a deep impression on Ayanokoji. Even when he saw how complex and touching human behavior is, he would immediately use his logic instead of his feelings to uncover the deep psychology behind human interaction. And thus, the deeper part of his brain was never triggered by some phenomenon that his logic cannot understand. Let's take a look at the Sato case for example. When Sato clearly told Ayanokoji that she was interested in him, Ayanokoji immediately asked her why she felt that way, to which Sato answered that she thought the sight of Ayanokoji running so fast was really cool in her eyes. She later takes a look at Ayanokoji's face, and realizes how handsome he is, and that makes her like him more. Sato's interest was easy to understand by logic, So there will be no chance for it to reach Ayanokoji's heart. Ayanokoji cannot feel the emotions from others, so after a long talk with Manabu, he chose to take the active role and learn about it himself. And just like that, he ended up dating Kei with the full intention of learning about love, to see if Ayanokoji could force the emotion out from himself. But unfortunately, we already know how it ended. Even if it's sad to admit, Volume 2 of the third year arc gave us a clear statement from Ayanokoji that he still cannot feel any romantic feelings inside him, so the whole year of relationship with Karizawa Kei failed to give him what he wanted. Ayanokoji probably believed the feeling called love will appear as long as they spend enough time together. However, even after a deep physical relationship, that feeling still doesn't appear. Even after he stirs up enough drama to make them fight, and even when Ayanokoji tries some illicit relationship with Ichinose, his heart still frees untouched. There are a lot of reasons why Ayanokoji's relationship with Kei failed to give him what he wanted. For starters, their relationship is not equal. Kei is dating Ayanokoji because she truly loves him, while Ayanokoji is just dating her for the sake of experiment. It's clear that Kei needs him more than Ayanokoji needs her, because Kei could simply be replaced by anyone, and Ayanokoji only chose her because it will benefit the class more. Another reason why their relationship wasn't working is probably because Ayanokoji and Kei are completely different types of characters. Kei is an outgoing and talkative person who likes to spend time together, while Ayanokoji enjoys his time alone and only talks when it is necessary. While the relationship between two completely different characters sometimes worked, but sadly it's not the case with them. And now we are entering the confusing part, which is the reason why Ayanokoji shows a sudden romantic affection toward Hiyori in Volume 2 third year arc. He wanted to meet her and talk like usual. He also doesn't want Hiyori to hate him, and he genuinely wants her to be happy. While it's clearly a sudden development, everything makes sense when it comes to love. And even if it's sudden, Shina Hiyori is probably the best possible girl to make Ayanokoji fall in love. First, her relationship with Ayanokoji is never about experiment. And like Kei, Horikita, or Ichinose, Ayanokoji and Hiyori's relationship is purely friends who share the same hobby. While Ayanokoji sometimes use her as part of his scheme, the time that they spent together was mostly just them enjoying the moment with their hobby. Ayanokoji's friendship with Hiyori is also developed so fast and weird. They were having lunch together in Volume 7, and after a full volume without any interaction, Ayanokoji suddenly calls her by her first name in Volume 9. The reason why Ayanokoji calls her by her first name cannot be explained even by Ayanokoji himself, which means that it is something that manages to slip under Ayanokoji's logic. As for the romance itself, it's developed quite slow, but if we look closely in each volume, meeting with Hiyori has already become part of Ayanokoji's routine. And when his relationship with Kei became public and Hiyori chose to avoid him, Ayanokoji immediately noticed her missing. No matter what exam or how the situation around Ayanokoji changes, meeting with Hiyori is something that never changes. It has always been there ever since they first met, and become part of their life. That's why when Ayanokoji suddenly shows a romantic feeling toward Hiyori in Volume 2 third year arc, it's not something that feels forced. It might be sudden, but it could be understood because Hiyori already meets all the criteria that could possibly make Ayanokoji fall in love. They are a fellow loner who loves books and is the smart and quiet type. Ayanokoji calling her by her first name is not something that Ayanokoji could understand, and her routine with Hiyori at the library leaves a deep impression on him. Because ever since Ayanokoji was still a gloomy loner who was ignored by everyone, Hiyori has already been there, accompanying him through time and change. Ayanokoji could leave his group of friends, he could break up with Kei, and he can also leave Horikita and the entire class, but the time he spends with Hiyori is the only thing that he never plans to change. Maybe Ayanokoji already had a feeling for Hiyori even before he changed class, but the absence of Hiyori at the library and her neglecting him in the early volumes are the triggers that finally push that feeling to surface. Even if it's weird to see Ayanokoji genuinely fall in love, he is still fundamentally a human. Just like a baby who finally learns to say I love you, this kind of development from Ayanokoji will definitely become the beginning of a big change. Even though the future seems far away for us, they only have 10 months left in school. No matter how this feeling will develop, let's just stick and watch them until the end.